Hello everyone, this is Charm and welcome to my presentation in IT 414 System Integration and Architecture subject. Let's go discuss about my topic, which is types of requirements. There are types of requirements which are user requirements, system requirements, functional requirements, and non-functional requirements. And what are these all about? User requirements is a high-level abstract requirement. Abstract means argument or discussion is general and not based on particular examples only. It is a statement narrated by customer in simple natural language with some useful diagrams, description of services that system provides and the constraint under which must operate. Constraint means a limitation or restriction. There is a limitation and restriction under which must operates, and this is under in user requirements. And what about system requirement? System requirements are more detailed description of the software systems, functions, services, and operational constraints. Operational constraints defining operational limitations, constraints and performance parameters for the enterprise, and it is specifies traditional textual operational or business rules that are constraints on the way that business is done in the enterprise. That is operational constraints under system requirement. Structured document of detailed requirements called as functional specification, functionalities and services provided by the system. Now, what is functional specification? It is in system engineering and software development is a document that specifies the functions that a system or component must perform. Contract between system buyer, software developer. And software system requirements are often classified as functional requirements or non-functional requirements. Functional requirements are statements of services that system should provide, how the system should react to particular inputs, and how the system should behave in particular situations. In some cases, the functional requirements may also explicitly state what the system should not do. And this is the functional requirements. While the non-functional requirements are constraints on the services or functions offered by the system. Constraints on the services or functions offered by the system. They include timing constraints, constraints of the development process, and constraints imposed by the standards. Constraint means, again, is a limitation or restriction on the services or functions offered by the system. There is also a limitation in non-functional requirements. Non-functional requirements often apply to the system as a feature of services. The functional requirements here is for a system describe what the system should do. These requirements depend on the type of software being developed, the expected users of the software, and the general approach taken by the organization when writing requirements. Functional requirements also vary from general requirements covering what the system should do to very specific requirements reflecting local ways of working or an organization's existing systems. While here is the non-functional requirements. Non-functional requirements as the name suggests, are the requirements that are not directly concerned with the specific services delivered by the name of each users. Not directly concerned, which is different from functional requirements. And it also say here that non-functional requirements such as performance, security, or availability usually specify or constrains the characteristics of the system as a whole. Non-functional are often more critical than individual functional requirements. This is the difference between functional and non-functional requirements. Non-functional requirements are related to the system properties that are listed below: reliability, speed response, example response time, system security, system availability, portability, robustness, and ease of use. Types of non-functional requirements are: number 1, product requirements. These requirements specify or constrain the behavior of the software. Specify or constrains means limit the behavior of the software. Example, performance requirements on how fast the system must execute and how much memory it requires. Reliability requirements that set out the acceptable failure rate. Security requirements and usability requirements. That is under the product requirements, which is the type of non-functional requirements. Number 2, organizational requirements are broad system requirements derived from policies and procedures in the customers and developers organization. Now, what is broad? Broad is having an ample extent from side to side or between. Broad system. Example, operational process requirements that defined on the system will be used. The development process requires that specify the programming language, the development or process standards to be used, and environmental requirements that specify the operating environment of the system. Broad system. Requirements are broad system in organizational requirements means a subject indication, coding, and ordering scheme developed to meet the requirements of the program for an international switching mechanism between all information systems using diverse indexing or retrieval language is described. Broad system. And this is under organizational requirements, which is one of the type of non-functional requirements. And this is all about my presentation about the types of requirements. And thank you, and God bless.